Chosen one, anchor your spirit to what I am about to reveal. Because what I uncovered while preparing this message made me sit in absolute silence. I know exactly what the last few weeks have felt like for you. The atmosphere in your own home feels incredibly heavy. Conversations seem to stop the moment you walk into the room. You feel completely unseen. People you once trusted are suddenly pulling away without any clear explanation. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a strange weight pressing on your chest. You try to explain this heavy feeling to others, but they just look at you with blank stares. They tell you that you are just being too sensitive, but you are not imagining this shift. The enemy has been working overtime against you for one reason and one reason only. He knows exactly what happens the moment you finally understand what is taking place. You did not click on this message by accident today. The algorithm did not bring you here to this specific place. The Holy Spirit directed your steps because this is a divine appointment. In the next few minutes, I am going to reveal the real reason why this painful isolation was never a punishment. I will expose the massive lie that has been keeping you trapped in a cycle of quiet despair. And at the very end, I will give you the specific declaration that seals your new season. Do not click away. Your breakthrough is hiding in these exact words. Let us look honestly at what you have been quietly surviving. Your inner circle has gotten so small that it barely exists anymore. People who used to call you every single day suddenly have absolutely no time for you. You watch them continue their happy lives while you sit in this strange, uncomfortable waiting room. It hurts because you gave them so much of your heart. You were the one everyone came to when their own lives were falling apart. You listened to their complex problems and you carried their heavy burdens for many years. But the moment you needed a safe place to rest, the room suddenly went completely empty. You looked around and realized you were standing entirely alone. That realization broke something deep inside your spirit. Now you are spending your days replaying old conversations in your tired head. You keep asking yourself what you did wrong to make them walk away. Did you say too much when you should have stayed quiet? Were your boundaries just too rigid for them to handle? You constantly search for a logical reason because the silence is driving you crazy. But there is no logical reason for what is happening. You have started to secretly believe that you are fundamentally broken. You look at others who have large groups of friends and you wonder why you cannot just be normal like them. You have tried to shrink yourself down to fit into their tiny boxes. You dimmed your own bright light so you would not make them uncomfortable. But even that painful sacrifice was not enough to keep them around. The truth is that your spirit already knows something is profoundly wrong with this picture. Your mind is heavily confused, but your deep intuition is screaming that this isolation means something else entirely. You can feel a strange hum of energy right beneath the surface of your daily life. It feels exactly like the quiet moment right before a massive storm breaks wide open. This is the exact place where most people completely give up and surrender. They let the deep loneliness convince them that heaven has abandoned them in the dark. But you are a chosen one, and you carry a completely different frequency in your spirit. Heaven operates by a completely different set of rules when it comes to your unique life. You cannot apply their rules to your calling. You are exhausted from constantly translating your deep feelings for people who only understand surface-level things. Every time you try to explain the heavy weight you carry, they just tell you to relax and take it easy. They have absolutely no idea what it takes to walk in your shoes every single day. They cannot comprehend the spiritual warfare you face in secret. The relationships that dissolved were not random accidents. The sudden ghosting and the unexplained distance were actually written into your spiritual blueprint. You have been grieving the loss of people who were never meant to survive the transition into your next chapter. Stay with me right here, because what I am about to show you will change absolutely everything. I need you to hear this next truth with your entire spirit. The narrative you have been feeding yourself is completely backward. You have been looking at your empty room and calling it a tragic loss. And because your heart is so tender, you assumed that when people walked away, you must have done something terribly wrong. But heaven sees this situation differently. Your current isolation is not a punishment for your past mistakes. It is the absolute highest form of spiritual preparation. While the enemy wants you to feel entirely forsaken, God actually removed the familiar crowd from your life so he could finally speak to you without any earthly interference. Your isolation is not evidence of your disqualification, it is evidence of your selection. Think about the specific people who recently exited your life. They did not leave because you were deeply flawed or somehow broken. They left because your spiritual frequency has violently shifted upward. You are no longer vibrating at the same low level that kept them comfortable. And when your personal frequency suddenly elevates into a completely different dimension, everything that remains unaligned with that new energy must naturally fall away. This is the real reason they suddenly walked out of your life. It had absolutely nothing to do with your personal worth. The people pulling away are not actually rejecting you. They are simply grieving the old version of you that they are about to lose forever. Because they can sense the massive shift happening inside you, their own spirits are deeply terrified by the blinding light you are starting to carry. You have spent years shrinking your vibrant spirit to match their tiny rooms. You dimmed your bright light just to keep the fragile peace at the dinner table. While you were busy trying to make everyone else feel comfortable, heaven was officially canceling your lifelong agreement with smallness. You are no longer permitted to play small. Your calling demands a much higher level of operation now. When heaven is preparing you for a massive assignment, it must clear the stage. You cannot hear the subtle whispers of the Holy Spirit when you are constantly surrounded by the loud noise of human opinions. The people you lost were beautiful chapters in your old story, but they do not have the clearance to enter your new season. Their sudden departure is your divine protection. You have been crying over heavy doors that heaven permanently locked for your own safety. If those people had stayed in your life, they would have anchored you to a version of yourself that no longer exists. They would have constantly reminded you of your old painful limitations. God had to forcefully remove them so you could finally spread your wings and step into your true power. Let this profound truth sink deep into your heavy heart right now. You were never actually rejected by those people who walked away. You were divinely redirected toward the specific path you were always meant to walk, because your destiny requires a clean slate to build upon. What feels like a brutal abandonment is actually a profound spiritual consecration. The universe is making room for your true purpose. I know the transition phase feels incredibly cold and lonely. You are currently standing in the uncomfortable hallway between two distinct seasons of your life. The old familiar room has been securely locked behind you. And while the new door has not fully swung open yet, this dark hallway is where the most important spiritual upgrades always happen in secret. You are exactly where you need to be. You must stop chasing people who have already shown you their exit signs. When you continually chase them, you are literally arguing with the exact answered prayers you prayed last year. You asked heaven for authentic connections and a deeper spiritual purpose. Heaven answered by violently removing the counterfeits. And now you are complaining about the sudden empty space in your life. Every single person who left your life was a necessary shedding of dead weight. You are not losing your mind or your social skills. You are simply shedding the heavy skin that no longer fits your expanding spirit. Even though it hurts right now, you must realize that you are not too sensitive or too difficult to love. You were simply built for a completely different frequency. The enemy wants you to sit in that empty room and feel ashamed. He wants you to believe that your intense calling is actually a toxic personality flaw. If he can keep you mourning the past and begging for the wrong people to stay, he can effectively delay your arrival in the promised future. but you have incredible authority over this heavy season of transition. But here is where it goes deeper than you have ever been told. The universe operates on exact laws of resonance and vibration. Everything in your life is bound by these unseen energetic rules. And when you undergo a massive spiritual awakening, your internal vibration shifts so dramatically that it literally disrupts the magnetic field around you. Your new energy is now acting as a powerful repellent. It is automatically pushing away anything and anyone that cannot sustain your higher frequency. This is not a conscious choice you are making with your logical mind. It is a biological and spiritual reflex that protects your newly forming identity from being corrupted by those old toxic patterns. Those old friends did not just wake up and decide they hated you. They simply could no longer breathe in the new atmosphere you are carrying. When pure light enters a dark room, the shadows do not negotiate with the light. The shadows simply flee because they cannot exist in that environment, and you have become entirely too bright for their comfort. Think about the profound life cycle of a beautiful butterfly. Before it can take flight, it must completely isolate itself inside a dark and confining cocoon. To the outside world, it looks like the caterpillar has simply died and vanished, and it appears to be doing absolutely nothing while hanging in the quiet shadows. But inside that shell, a violent transformation is happening. You have not been failing at life recently. You have been molting. You are dissolving the heavy structures of your old personality to make room for something breathtaking. And just like that isolated creature in the cocoon, you cannot invite your old friends in to watch this incredibly messy process. This sacred biological shift requires your complete and total isolation. People look at your current life and they judge your quietness. They see you withdrawing from the loud crowds and they label you as depressed or antisocial. They whisper about how you have changed and how you are no longer fun to be around. But they are completely blind to the massive spiritual architecture that is being constructed behind your closed doors while you sit alone in the dark. If someone tries to tear open a cocoon before the butterfly is fully ready, the creature will simply die. It needs the painful struggle of pushing against the walls to force real strength into its fragile wings. This is exactly why heaven refuses to rescue you from this lonely season. The intense struggle of standing completely alone is the exact mechanism building your new strength. What you carry is not a wound or a terrible weakness. It is a massive weapon. The deep sensitivity they told you to hide is actually a highly advanced spiritual radar. The depth that made you feel like you were simply too much is the very thing that gives your words the heavy weight to shift entire atmospheres. You were never meant to be ordinary like the rest of them. As your new frequency stabilizes, you will notice something incredible happening. The desperate need to be understood by everyone will quietly vanish from your mind, and you will no longer crave the cheap validation of people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You will finally find true peace in the quiet spaces, because the quiet spaces are where heaven speaks the loudest. You are currently standing in the fire, but the fire is not burning you. It is only burning away the heavy chains that kept you anchored to their low expectations. Every tear you cried over losing them was just water nourishing the new seeds of your glorious destiny. You are being rebuilt from the inside out, and the finished product will absolutely shock everyone who left you. Before you go any further into this revelation, gently press the like button so this message can reach someone else who is grieving a lost relationship tonight. They need to know that their painful isolation is divine preparation too. But once that truth clicks into place, you are ready for the next profound layer. Because there is a hidden reason why heaven did this. Coming up in just a moment, I am going to reveal the exact secret regarding those empty spaces in your life. I will show you why heaven had to forcefully clear that room before the next phase could even begin. But first, this current truth must land deep in your spirit and settle like solid bedrock. You must fully accept that your frequency shift is absolutely real. Here is the deeper root I promised you in the last few moments. The sudden departure of your friends was not an accident of fate. It was a highly calculated mechanism of stealth protection designed entirely by heaven. When you are about to receive a massive download of spiritual revelation, the environment must be completely sterile. You cannot process pure truth in a contaminated room. Imagine a surgeon preparing for a life-saving operation in a hospital. They do not invite random people from the street to stand around the operating table, because a single distraction could cost the patient their entire life. They actively clear the room and scrub every surface until it is spotless. Heaven is performing a massive open-heart surgery on your spirit right now. God had to forcefully remove the spectators to prevent a severe spiritual infection. The people you loved were carrying their own heavy doubts and deep insecurities. If they had stayed near you during this highly sensitive transition, their chaotic energy would have severely compromised your new frequency. You would have unconsciously absorbed their deep fears. And then you would have doubted the exact calling that heaven just placed inside your weary soul. This is the painful reality about carrying a heavy prophetic mantle. You cannot drag the familiar comforts of your old season into the sacred spaces of your new assignment. The new wine requires a completely new wineskin to hold its heavy weight. If heaven poured this massive revelation into your old environment, the immense pressure would completely shatter everything around you. You have been mourning the loss of people who secretly anchored you to a lower dimension. Every time you tried to fly higher, their subtle comments and their passive-aggressive behavior pulled you right back down. They did not want you to grow because your growth highlighted their own stagnation. They needed you to stay broken so they could feel completely comfortable with their own messy lives. But you are a chosen one with a mandate to break generational curses. You are not meant to repeat the same tragic cycles of the people who came before you. And to break those heavy cycles, you need a level of intense focus that simply cannot coexist with constant social drama. The empty space in your life is not a void waiting to be filled. It is a sacred sanctuary. Look at the biblical figures who carried the most massive spiritual assignments. Moses had to spend 40 years in the quiet desert before he could lead a nation to freedom. Elijah was completely isolated by the brook while heaven fed him in secret. Joseph had to sit in a lonely prison cell before he could govern an entire kingdom. Isolation is the universal language of deep preparation. God cleared the room so he could finally get your undivided attention. When your life was completely full of noise and constant activity, you could not hear the gentle whispers of the Holy Spirit. You were too busy managing the heavy emotions of every single person in your orbit. Heaven had to bankrupt your social life just to secure a private meeting with your distracted soul. Now you are sitting in this quiet room, and the silence feels absolutely deafening, mainly because you have spent your entire life surrounded by constant noise. Your mind races because you are so used to fixing problems and mediating conflicts for everyone else. But heaven is asking you to stop moving and just sit completely still in the uncomfortable quiet. The deep revelation you have been begging for is finally trying to land in your spirit. You must learn to aggressively protect this empty space instead of trying to escape it. Do not rush out to find new friends just to numb the painful sting of this necessary loneliness. If you prematurely fill the room with random people, you will abort the massive spiritual upgrade that is happening right now. You must endure the quiet season until the transformation is fully complete in your heavy heart. You are being granted exclusive access to mysteries that most people will never comprehend. The universe is whispering ancient secrets into your spirit while the rest of the world is screaming for cheap attention. This level of profound access requires a massive personal sacrifice on your part. You simply cannot have both the loud crowds and the quiet whispers of divine wisdom. And once that profound truth clicks into place, everything in your reality shifts permanently. But there is still one more layer to this mystery that we must unpack together. Coming up in just a moment, I am going to expose the subtle but profound difference between being painfully abandoned and being fiercely protected by heaven. But first, let this truth about your empty room settle deep into your tired bones. Here is the profound layer about protection that I promised you. You have been carrying the heavy trauma of feeling completely abandoned by those you loved. It hurts because human rejection triggers our deepest childhood fears of surviving alone. You look at the empty chairs at your table and assume you were simply not good enough to keep them. But heaven is asking you to shift your perspective right now. There is a massive spiritual difference between being abandoned and being protected. Abandonment happens when someone carelessly walks away and leaves you totally defenseless in the dark. Protection happens when a higher power forcefully removes a hidden threat from your immediate environment. The people who left your life were not your safe harbor anymore. They had actually become a subtle danger to your expanding spirit. Think about a master gardener tending to a highly valuable fruit tree. When the gardener aggressively cuts away the thick branches, the tree experiences immense shock and pain. The tree thinks it is being brutally attacked and stripped of its beautiful leaves. But the gardener knows those old branches are actually draining the vital life force away from the roots. If those branches stay, the tree will never produce the rare fruit it was designed to grow. Your life was full of heavy branches that were slowly draining your spiritual energy. These were the friends who constantly needed your help, but never returned the favor when you were struggling. They were the family members who subtly mocked your big dreams while demanding your absolute loyalty. Heaven saw exactly how much energy they were stealing from your vital reserves. God brought the sharp shears because your new fruit requires all your strength. You must understand that human beings have a very limited line of sight. We only see the immediate pain of the sudden goodbye and the lonely weekends. But heaven sits outside of time and sees the devastating future that would have unfolded if they stayed. God saw the exact moment they would have betrayed your deep trust when you needed them the most. He saw the subtle traps they were unintentionally setting for your newly formed identity. When you cry over their sudden absence, you are literally crying over a rescued future. You are mourning the loss of a snake because it had beautiful skin and a familiar face. I know this sounds incredibly harsh, but spiritual warfare does not care about your sentimental attachments. The enemy often uses our deepest loves to anchor us to our lowest frequencies. The removal was brutal because the spiritual entanglement was so deep. You are a chosen one who carries a heavy mantle for the next generation. You simply cannot afford to have people in your inner circle who secretly resent your bright light. If they cannot celebrate your sudden elevation, they will inevitably try to sabotage your quiet progress. They might not even do it on purpose, but their unhealed wounds will naturally attack your newfound wholeness. Their departure was the universe building a high wall of protection around you. I want you to take a deep breath and completely release the heavy shame of being left behind. You were not left behind. You were forcefully pulled ahead into a secure location while the bridge collapsed behind you. The next time you look at that empty space in your life, I want you to feel profound gratitude instead of creeping anxiety. That empty space is the definitive proof that heaven is actively guarding your daily steps. Your spirit is currently adjusting to this new level of extreme safety. It feels strange because you are so used to constantly defending yourself against subtle emotional attacks. You do not know how to simply rest in a completely sterile environment yet. But your nervous system is finally getting the deep break it has needed for many years. You are safe now, and the heavy isolation is the very shield keeping you secure. But this brings us to a very painful and confusing phase of the journey. What happens when the old people are gone, but the new aligned souls have not arrived yet? Coming up next, I am going to explain this frustrating waiting room and show you how to survive the silent gap. But first, Let this truth about divine protection heal your broken heart today. You are standing in the most confusing part of this entire spiritual journey. The old familiar faces have completely faded into the distant background, but the new aligned souls have not yet appeared on your wide horizon. You are currently caught in the silent gap between your past and your destiny, and this profound emptiness feels deeply unsettling to your weary spirit. It is a very strange place to breathe. We often call this the hallway of transition. You have boldly closed the heavy door on your toxic history, but heaven has not yet opened the bright door to your promised future. You are just standing in this long corridor with absolutely nothing to hold on to. Human nature desperately wants to run back to the old room just to feel something familiar, even if that room was quietly destroying your soul. When the silence gets too loud, you start doubting your own sanity. You wonder if you made a massive mistake by letting those people walk away. You reach for your phone to text them and apologize for things you never did. You are willing to compromise your new frequency just to stop the bleeding, because the isolation feels too heavy to bear. But you must resist that dangerous urge with everything you have right now. This gap is not a punishment for your bold choices. It is a necessary period of extreme spiritual calibration. Your entire nervous system is currently rewiring itself to sustain a much higher voltage of divine energy. If heaven brought your new tribe into your life right now, you would actually ruin those sacred connections because you are still bleeding from your past. You are simply not ready to hold them yet. You still have deep defensive walls built out of past trauma. You still expect people to betray you the moment you show them your true heart. The universe needs time to wash those toxic expectations out of your bloodstream. God is using this incredibly quiet gap to heal your deep trust issues before he introduces you to the family that will actually stay. Your new tribe will operate on a completely different frequency. They will not require you to shrink down or constantly translate your weary soul. They will speak your exact language, and they will celebrate the massive power you carry without ever feeling intimidated. But to truly recognize them when they finally arrive, your own internal frequency must be perfectly stable and completely pure. The universe is testing your profound ability to stand entirely alone. Can you find total peace in the quiet spaces without needing constant external validation? Can you hold your high frequency when there is absolutely nobody around to clap for your quiet progress and your hidden victories? This is the ultimate test of spiritual maturity for every chosen one. You must learn to become your own solid anchor. If you fail this quiet test and rush to fill the empty void, you will completely reset the spiritual clock. You will attract another cycle of toxic people who will drain your precious energy all over again. You will have to repeat the painful lesson of losing them until you finally learn how to wait. I implore you to embrace this uncomfortable gap and let it do its sacred work. Stop fighting the divine pause. While you are sitting here feeling incredibly lonely, heaven is quietly moving massive puzzle pieces. God is actively preparing the hearts of the specific people who are destined to walk closely with you. They are currently going through their own painful fires, and heaven is conditioning them to properly handle the heavy glory of your upcoming assignment. You are being prepared for each other in secret. You are never truly alone in this dark hallway. The presence of the Holy Spirit is thicker here than in any crowded room you have ever entered. If you stop crying over the lost connections, you will begin to hear the majestic whispers of heaven echoing off the walls of your isolation. The universe is trying to romance your spirit and remind you of your royal lineage. You just need to dry your tears and listen. There are many chosen ones sitting in their own dark hallways right now. They think they are losing their minds because everyone they loved vanished. They desperately need to know that this gap is a sacred bridge, not a permanent prison. Share this message with someone who has been wondering why their circle got so small recently, because they need this exact confirmation tonight. Be the light that explains their quiet season. But even when you fully accept this quiet period of transition, there is still a massive emotional hurdle ahead of you. You will soon face a brutal reality about your old season. Coming up next, I am going to expose exactly why the people from your past absolutely cannot travel with you. But first, let this peace wash over you completely. There is a brutal reality about spiritual transitions that nobody wants to discuss. We naturally want to pack everything from our past and carry it directly into our bright future. You look at the people you loved and you desperately try to fit them into your new spaces. It feels like true loyalty when you try to bring everyone along for the ride. But heaven flatly refuses to allow this dangerous migration. The massive calling on your life requires an unprecedented level of focus. Every new season comes with a completely different set of heavy demands and spiritual warfare. The friends from your old season carry very old expectations of how you should behave. They will constantly try to remind you of exactly who you used to be. They will try to hold you accountable to a version of yourself that is completely dead. You are dealing with the heavy burden of pure nostalgia. You remember the beautiful times you shared when your frequencies were perfectly matched. So, you try to force them into a new spiritual mold. They were never meant to fit. You are literally trying to drag them up a steep mountain they never agreed to climb. And in doing so, you are exhausting your own spirit while making them deeply resent you. You must realize that this is not about them being evil or malicious people. They are simply operating at their own natural speed. But they completely lack the spiritual lung capacity for the high altitude of your new calling. The air up here is incredibly thin and the pressure is massive. If you forcefully drag them into this new dimension, their fragile spirits will absolutely suffocate under the heavy weight. Walking away from them is actually a profound act of divine mercy. Heaven is actively protecting those people from the intense pressure of your unfolding destiny. You think you are abandoning them by moving forward alone, but you are actually saving them from a fiery battlefield they have absolutely no training to survive. Your new reality would completely crush their weak foundations. You have been operating under the grand illusion that you are a universal savior. Because you have a deeply empathetic heart, you thought your primary job was to heal everyone around you. You truly believed your bright light was supposed to magically fix all their lingering darkness. But you must hear this clearly today. You are not the ultimate savior of the world, and you cannot fix their brokenness. You were given one very specific mandate by the creator of the universe. You were called to fulfill a unique assignment that only you can accomplish. You were never meant to carry dead weight into the front lines of a spiritual war. A dedicated soldier cannot effectively fight while carrying a heavy suitcase full of nostalgic souvenirs. You must drop the heavy bags if you want to survive the upcoming battles. I know the intense pain of suddenly outgrowing your familiar environment. It hurts deeply to look around the dinner table and realize nobody speaks your new language anymore. You try to translate the profound divine mysteries into casual, everyday conversation. But they just stare blankly at you and change the subject to something entirely trivial. It is incredibly exhausting to constantly translate your soul. This is the exact moment you must formally accept the death of that old chapter. You must stop trying to resurrect a connection that heaven has deliberately buried for your own good. When the autumn season arrives, the strong tree does not mourn the falling leaves. It simply lets them drop so it can conserve precious energy for the bitter winter. You must let those old relationships fall to the ground. Do not waste another precious day trying to explain your calling to people committed to misunderstanding you. Their inability to see your bright light does not diminish your blazing fire. It simply proves they are standing entirely too far away. The old season is officially closed, and the heavy curtain has finally dropped. You must turn your face forward and absolutely refuse to look backward again. Your future requires a version of you that is completely detached from the need for cheap approval. You are stepping into a realm where the only applause that matters comes entirely from heaven. The people who were meant to travel this road with you will eventually find you on the path. But you cannot wait at the starting line forever, just hoping the old crowd will suddenly wake up. But here is the part that no one really wants to hear. We have blamed the old crowd and we have talked about their severe limitations, but there is a massive block inside you that we have completely ignored. Coming up next, I am going to expose the hidden block that is quietly keeping you stuck in this painful cycle. But first, let this reality about the old season completely wash over you. And here is the part that nobody ever wants to hear. We have spent this entire time talking about the people who suddenly walked away. We have looked at their massive limitations and their total inability to hold your heavy weight. But now it is time to look closely in the spiritual mirror, because we must examine the quiet block living entirely inside your own mind. I need you to hear this next truth with absolute clarity today. I say this with nothing but profound love for your weary soul. This is not a harsh accusation against your beautiful character. This is the exact spiritual diagnosis that will finally set your tired spirit completely free. The ultimate barrier to your massive breakthrough is not the devil, and it is certainly not the old friends who abandoned you. The thing that has been quietly blocking your breakthrough is actually you. Some quiet part of your spirit is absolutely terrified of your own divine power. You have clearly sensed the massive calling on your life since you were a very young child. And deep down in your aching bones, you know exactly how much responsibility that heavy prophetic mantle actually carries in this dark world. You are deeply afraid of what will happen if you actually shine at your maximum capacity. You know that if you boldly step into your true power, your entire reality will radically change overnight. You will permanently lose the comfortable anonymity of hiding in the quiet shadows, and you are terrified that your pure blazing light will violently blind everyone you dearly love while they are still struggling in the dark. So you did something incredibly dangerous to survive this tension. You actively dimmed your own brilliant light on purpose. You purposefully lowered your high vibration, hoping it would make them feel safe and comfortable around you. You tried to negotiate with heaven by offering to play small if it meant you could keep your familiar friends in your daily life. You traded your divine destiny for cheap company. Your beautiful empathy slowly became a toxic emotional trap. You cared much more about their fragile egos than you cared about your own sacred assignment. You watched them continually struggle with your rapid growth. So you completely stopped growing to save their delicate feelings, and you literally starved your own hungry spirit just to make sure they did not feel insecure. Heaven watched you slowly suffocating yourself just to keep the fragile peace. God saw you constantly apologizing for the massive space you were destined to occupy on this earth. And he realized you were never going to leave that toxic room on your own accord. You were entirely too loyal to people who were secretly committed to keeping you trapped in a tiny box, so God had to violently intervene. You cannot constantly blame them for walking away when you were always pretending to be someone else. You were broadcasting a severely compromised frequency that deeply confused the entire spiritual realm. The universe had to forcefully remove those people to literally stop you from destroying your own destiny. You were acting as your own worst enemy in the quiet dark, and heaven refused to let you sabotage the beautiful future prepared for you. Right now, you are desperately mourning a dark prison cell just because the heavy chains felt so familiar to your skin. But heaven has finally broken the rusty locks on the heavy door. You are standing in the wide-open doorway, but you are still gripping the broken chains. It is time to completely drop the heavy bags today. You must formally accept your own terrifying brilliance. You no longer need anyone to validate your deep spiritual calling. You do not need their fragile permission to step fully into your massive power today. The painful isolation you feel right now is the ultimate proof that you have been fully cleared for duty. The old season is completely dead, and the new season requires your absolute authenticity, because there will be absolutely no more hiding in the shadows. Your blazing light is not a heavy burden to be managed. It is the exact weapon heaven requires to shift the spiritual atmosphere of this entire generation. And now we finally arrive at the pivotal moment where your reality officially changes forever. You are finally ready to seal this profound transition. Coming up next is the powerful declaration that permanently activates everything you have been waiting to receive. And now we have finally reached the critical juncture where absolutely everything shifts for you today. You have endured the painful breaking of your old season with incredible grace. You have looked the terrifying truth about your own massive power directly in the eyes. It is finally time to seal this profound spiritual transition forever. I want you to stop whatever you are doing right now and just breathe. Place your physical hand directly over your beating heart and feel the heavy rhythm of your own survival. You are still standing here despite every single thing that tried to completely destroy you. You survived the bitter rejection and the crushing isolation. Say these exact words out loud with me in the quietness of your room today. I officially release the heavy need to be constantly understood by everyone around me. I completely release every single person who could not survive the high altitude of my new calling. I bless their journey, but I absolutely refuse to carry their heavy baggage anymore. I cancel every quiet agreement I ever made with smallness just to keep the peace. I will never again dim my blazing light to make another human being feel comfortable in the dark. I forgive myself for completely starving my own spirit just to feed people who were secretly committed to misunderstanding me. My days of hiding are permanently over. I boldly step into the massive assignment that heaven prepared specifically for my life. I fully accept that my painful isolation was divine preparation and never a cruel punishment. The empty space in my life is a sacred sanctuary that I will fiercely protect from now on. I am vibrating at a frequency that only aligned souls can possibly reach. My massive breakthrough is not coming sometime in the distant future. It is already fully here and actively moving in my life right now. I am a chosen one who carries a heavy mantle to break old generational curses. I do not need their fragile permission to occupy my rightful space on this earth. I am fully authorized by heaven. I walk forward today knowing that I am fiercely protected and deeply loved. The heavy chains of my toxic past are completely shattered on the floor behind me. I am stepping out of the dark hallway and walking directly into the bright room of my ultimate destiny. Heaven has completely cleared the stage, and I am finally ready to shine. Let that powerful declaration settle deep into your weary bones right now. You just executed a massive legal decree in the spiritual realm that changes your entire trajectory. The enemy heard every single word you just spoke, and his heavy assignment against your life just completely collapsed. You just took all your stolen power back. You are absolutely not the same person who started listening to this message today. The old fragile version of you officially died the moment you placed your hand on your heart. A completely new frequency is now pulsing through your veins and radiating from your spirit. You have finally become the exact warrior you were always meant to be. The universe is currently realigning massive events and specific people to match your new vibration. You do not have to nervously chase anyone or desperately beg for any cheap scraps of attention ever again. The right aligned souls are actively making their way toward you right now. They will recognize your bright light the moment they finally see it. Until those beautiful souls arrive, you will stand completely secure in your own magnificent energy. You will enjoy the quiet peace of your empty room, satins, filled with the presence of heaven. The terrifying silence is no longer a heavy burden to bear. The silence is simply the beautiful sound of your own soul finally breathing freely. Every single tear you cried in the dark was carefully collected and transformed into pure spiritual armor. The heavy trauma you survived did not break your fragile spirit into useless pieces. It forged you into an unbreakable weapon of divine light. You are standing on the absolute edge of the greatest chapter your life has ever seen. Do not let anyone try to pull you back into the heavy gravity of your old dead season. When they attempt to reach out and pull you down, you will simply smile and keep walking forward. They no longer have any access to the sacred spaces of your pure heart. Your new boundaries are made of solid steel, and they are completely non-negotiable. The season of painful preparation is officially complete today. You have successfully crossed the heavy bridge from your broken past into your beautiful future. The intense spiritual warfare that kept you awake at night has finally broken its grip on your life. You can finally take a deep breath and rest your tired soul. The hardest part of the journey is completely behind you now. I want you to look around your quiet room right now and feel the incredible peace. That deep silence is no longer a heavy reminder of the people who walked away from you. It is the beautiful sound of a completely sterile environment waiting for new seeds to grow. Heaven has meticulously prepared this beautiful space just for you. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you will feel remarkably different. The heavy weight that used to sit on your chest will be completely gone. You will open your eyes and realize that you are no longer mourning the old closed doors. You will feel a steady confidence rising up from deep inside your healed spirit. The new frequency is already working perfectly within you. You will no longer feel the desperate urge to constantly explain yourself to the world. When people simply do not understand your calling, you will just smile and let them walk away. You finally know your own profound worth, and you absolutely refuse to discount it for anyone. Your spirit is securely anchored in divine truth. You are fully ready for the next beautiful chapter. The universe is incredibly proud of the quiet resilience you showed in the dark. You did not surrender when the isolation felt like it was going to crush your spirit. You held onto your faith even when the hallway was completely pitch black. And because you remained faithful in the painful silence, heaven is about to reward you openly in the bright light. Your abundant spiritual harvest is fully guaranteed today. New doors are quietly unlocking for you in the spiritual realm as we speak. Opportunities that felt impossibly far away are currently moving rapidly in your direction. You do not have to chase your massive breakthrough anymore because it is actively finding its way directly to your front door. You simply need to stand still and keep your hands wide open to receive it all. I want you to remember this specific feeling of total liberation forever. Whenever the enemy tries to creep back in and whisper those old familiar lies of abandonment, you will simply laugh. You know the absolute truth about your divine protection now. You understand that every sudden loss was just heaven clearing the stage for a much bigger blessing. Your entire perspective on life is permanently shifted. As you step forward into this new glorious week, walk with your head held high. You are a completely integrated warrior of light who survived the ultimate test of isolation. You are carrying a heavy mantle that will eventually change the lives of thousands. But for today, you are just going to enjoy the beautiful peace of your own healed heart. You have absolutely earned this quiet rest after the battle. There is a massive community of chosen ones waking up all over the world right now. You are part of a global frequency shift that is slowly changing the entire atmosphere of this earth. Even when you are sitting alone in your physical room, you are deeply connected to a massive spiritual family. We are all walking this exact same sacred path together in the light. This specific message was placed in your path for a very profound reason today. Heaven wanted to personally confirm everything your deep intuition was already whispering to you. You are not crazy, and you are certainly not broken. You are a chosen one who is finally stepping into your true, authentic power. I am incredibly honored to witness your beautiful spiritual evolution. If this word met you in the exact place you desperately needed it today, I want you to take one final action. Type the words "I release the old" in the comments below to permanently seal this frequency shift. Let that simple comment be your physical signature on the spiritual decree we just made. It is your formal declaration to the universe that you are fully ready to move forward. Before you leave this safe space, make sure you subscribe and turn on all notifications. You do not want to miss the next profound revelation about who you really are and what you are called to do. Share this with another chosen one who needs hope. The season of painful preparation is officially complete, and your magnificent assignment starts right now. I will see you in the next message.